This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to today's roundup. We are diving into a packed slate of sports news, from historic playoff debuts on the court and ice to high-stakes rumors surrounding the upcoming NFL draft.
NFL trade rumors suggest the Cowboys might move up.
Victor Wembanyama shines in his historic NBA playoff debut.
Thunder and Celtics dominate their opening postseason matchups today.
Spurs show composure to hold off a Blazers rally.
San Antonio Legends witness a new era of dominance.
Wembanyama breaks franchise records in a comfortable Game 1.
Sabres stun Bruins with a dramatic third-period playoff comeback.
Tyler Reddick wins at Kansas with Michael Jordan watching.
First, the NFL Draft. The 2026 NFL Draft is quickly approaching, and the rumor mill is spinning faster than ever, especially regarding the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones is known for his love of star power, and with the number 12 and 20 picks in the first round, the Cowboys are in a unique position to make a splash. Reports from Jordan Schultz and Jeremy Fowler suggest that Dallas is a team to watch for a potential trade-up. They might be looking to leapfrog their division rivals, the New York Giants, who currently hold the 5th pick. To do that, they'd likely need to strike a deal with the Arizona Cardinals at 3 or the Tennessee Titans at 4. The motivation seems clear. The Cowboys have obvious defensive needs and are eyeing elite pass rushers like Arvell Reese or David Bailey to bolster their front seven for a 2026 contention run.
It is not just the defense that could tempt them, though. There is significant buzz around running back Jeremiah Love, who is being hailed as one of the best prospects at his position in years. While the Cowboys are reportedly comfortable keeping their 2 first-rounders, the allure of a blue-chip talent might be too much to pass up. This draft class is interesting because the quarterback group is considered somewhat underwhelming, which might push elite talent at other positions like safety Caleb Downs further up the board. 6 teams already lack a first-round pick, including the Bengals after their massive trade with the Giants. This scarcity of top-tier picks could drive up the price for those looking to move into the top 10. Whether it is a defensive anchor or an offensive weapon, Dallas seems poised to be one of the primary agitators on draft night.
Next up, the NBA. Victor Wembanyama's playoff debut was nothing short of spectacular as the San Antonio Spurs defeated the Portland Trail Blazers 111-98. The atmosphere at the Frostbank Center was electric, filled with a sellout crowd and a literal gallery of Spurs royalty. Legends like Greg Popovich, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and George Gervin were all in the building to witness the start of a new era. Despite the immense pressure of ending a 6-season playoff drought for the city, the 7'4" phenom looked entirely at home. Wembanyama remarked after the game that having those Hall of Famers there didn't feel like a weight, but rather like a safety net, knowing so many hands were ready to catch him if he tripped. He certainly didn't trip, scoring 35 points and breaking Tim Duncan's franchise record for the most points in a playoff debut, which had stood since 1998.
Wembanyama's dominance was evident from the opening tip, as he racked up 21 points in the first half alone. That set a new NBA record for the most points in the first half of a playoff debut since the league began tracking play-by-play data in 1997. He was incredibly efficient, shooting 13 for 21 from the field and hitting 5 of his 6 attempts from beyond the arc. Portland coach Tiago Splitter admitted that while they tried to keep him out of the paint, his outside shooting simply became too much to handle. The Spurs' defense also found another gear in the second half, helping to secure the victory. It was a symbolic night for San Antonio, a franchise that won 5 championships over 2 decades before this recent dry spell. With Wembanyama leading the charge and the legends watching from the sidelines, it feels like the Spurs are finally back where they belong.
Now let's shift to, while Wembanyama was making history in San Antonio, the rest of the NBA playoffs were in full swing with some dominant performances from the league's heavyweights. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the top seed in the Western Conference, absolutely dismantled the Phoenix Suns with a 119-84 victory. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, last year's Finals MVP, showed exactly why he's a superstar, leading the way with 25 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. Meanwhile, in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics made a statement of their own. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown combined for 51 points, as the second-seeded Celtics cruised to a 123-91 win over the Philadelphia 76ers. Both the Thunder and the Celtics look like teams on a mission, using their home court advantage to stifle their opponents right out of the gate. These blowouts suggest that the top seeds are not interested in letting these first-round series linger longer than necessary.
However, the night wasn't without its surprises. The 8th-seeded Orlando Magic pulled off a stunning upset against the top-seeded Detroit Pistons, winning 112-101. This victory was particularly significant as the Magic had to fight their way through the play-in tournament just to get here. Paolo Banchero was the star for Orlando, putting up 23 points and 9 rebounds to overshadow a career-best playoff performance from Detroit's Cade Cunningham, who scored 39. This loss for the Pistons extends a truly unfortunate record. They haven't won a postseason game at home since 2008. Cunningham remained optimistic after the game, noting that while they lacked the right energy early on, he expects a long and competitive series. It is a reminder that in the playoffs, seeding doesn't always dictate the outcome, and the Magic have clearly found a rhythm at the perfect time to challenge the Eastern Conference's best.
Moving back to Texas, the Spurs' victory over the Blazers wasn't just about Wembanyama's individual brilliance, it was a testament to the team's growing composure. Although San Antonio built an early double-digit lead, Portland didn't go away quietly. In the third quarter, the Blazers mounted an 8-0 run that cut the deficit to just 2 points, threatening to spoil the homecoming party at the Frostbank Center. This is the kind of moment where young teams often unravel, but the Spurs responded with remarkable poise. Head coach Mitch Johnson praised his team's multiple efforts in transition and their ability to get organized defensively when the pressure mounted. Instead of panicking, the Spurs leaned into their defensive identity and timely shooting to stretch the lead back out. It showed that the lessons learned during a long regular season are finally paying off on the biggest stage, allowing them to maintain control even when the momentum shifted.
The supporting cast played a crucial role in weathering that Portland storm. While Wembanyama was the headline, players like Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox combined for 34 points, providing the necessary offensive punch to keep the Blazers at bay. Devin Vassell and Luke Kornet also provided vital energy off the bench, making the kind of gritty plays that don't always show up in the box score but are essential for playoff success. Coach Johnson highlighted the contributions of Julian Champagnie as well, noting that these are the efforts needed when an opponent is dictating the circumstances of the game. On the other side, Deni Avdija was a bright spot for Portland, but the Blazers simply couldn't match the depth and defensive intensity of the Spurs over 48 minutes. This Game 1 win was a full-team effort that proved San Antonio is more than just a one-man show as they look to advance.
Continuing with the Spurs, the scene in San Antonio for Wembanyama's debut felt like a true passing of the torch. As he emerged from the tunnel for warm-ups, the atmosphere was described as a stage for the arts, with fans and legends alike reaching for their phones to capture the moment. Manu Ginobili was seen smiling in the stands, watching not as a franchise icon, but as a proud member of the Spurs family. This sense of community and history is what makes the Spurs organization unique. Wembanyama himself noted that the energy in the arena was the most intense he had ever seen. For a 22-year-old to step into that environment and not only meet, but exceed expectations is extraordinary. He played 33 minutes, finishing with 35 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement that the dominance seen during the regular season was not a fluke, but the new normal for this franchise.
Coach Mitch Johnson emphasized that Wembanyama's success comes from a deep-seated desire to master the nuances of the game. His preparation, detail, and physicality were all on display, proving that he is ready for the rigors of playoff basketball. The Blazers now face a daunting task as they try to avoid a 2-0 hole. Structurally, they struggled to find an answer for Wembanyama's versatility. He can protect the rim on one end and then sprint down to hit a transition 3 on the other. This level of elegance and command from such a young player has left opponents dazed. The Spurs have high expectations for themselves, and getting this first win under their belt is a significant milestone. As the series continues, the focus will remain on how Wembanyama and this young core handle the adjustments Portland will inevitably make. But for now, the Spurs are reveling in a triumphant return to the postseason.
More on the game. Diving deeper into the box score of the Spurs' 111-98 victory, the efficiency of their backcourt was a major factor. Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox each contributed 17 points, but perhaps more importantly, they combined for 15 assists. This playmaking ensured that the ball kept moving and that Wembanyama wasn't forced to create every shot for himself. The Spurs' depth was further highlighted by Devin Vassell's performance in the third quarter. When Portland managed to cut the lead to just 2 points, Vassell hit several huge three-pointers that sparked a run and allowed San Antonio to pull away for good. It was a balanced attack that saw the Spurs turn on the Jets exactly when they needed to. Defensively, Wembanyama was a wall in the paint, altering shots and discouraging the Blazers from attacking the rim, which forced them into more difficult perimeter looks as the game progressed.
For the Trail Blazers, Deni Avdija was the standout performer, leading the team with 30 points and 10 rebounds. Scoot Henderson, who was drafted just 2 spots behind Wembanyama, also had a solid outing with 18 points. Despite these individual efforts, Portland struggled to maintain consistency throughout the game. They had their moments where they looked capable of an upset, but the Spurs' ability to respond to every run was the difference. Game 2 is set for Tuesday night, again in San Antonio, and the Blazers will need to find a way to disrupt the Spurs' rhythm if they want to even the series. The Spurs, meanwhile, will look to build on this solid all-around performance. With Wembanyama already setting records and the rest of the roster playing with confidence, the momentum is firmly on San Antonio's side as they aim to protect their home court once again.
Switching to the ice. In the NHL, the Buffalo Sabres made a triumphant and dramatic return to the playoffs after a 15-year absence. Facing the Boston Bruins, the Sabres found themselves trailing by 2 goals late in the third period. However, the energy in the arena shifted when Tog Thompson, who led the team with 40 goals this season, scored twice in less than 4 minutes to tie the game. The crowd was still buzzing when Matthias Samuelsson snapped a high shot into the net just 52 seconds later to give Buffalo the lead. Alex Tuch eventually sealed the 4-3 victory with an empty net goal, nearly blowing the roof off the building. It was Buffalo's first playoff win at home since 2011, and it served as a massive catharsis for a fan base that has endured a record-breaking 14-season postseason drought. The Sabres showed incredible resilience, proving they can compete with the Eastern Conference's elite.
The Bruins, who were the 7th seed entering the playoffs, had been nearly unbeatable when leading after 2 periods this season, boasting a 33-2 and 4 record in those situations. Yet, they unraveled in the final 8 minutes against Buffalo's relentless pressure. David Pastrnak did his best to keep Boston in it, recording a goal and 2 assists to move into 9th place on the franchise's all-time playoff points list. Despite his efforts and 34 saves from Jeremy Swayman, the Bruins couldn't withstand the Sabres' late surge. This comeback was reminiscent of the famous May Day game in 1993, the only other time Buffalo overcame a 2-goal third-period deficit in the playoffs against Boston. With Game 2 scheduled for Tuesday in Buffalo, the Sabres have all the momentum. They've proven that their Atlantic Division title was no fluke and that they are a dangerous out in this year's postseason tournament.
Finally, to the track. Over in the world of NASCAR, Tyler Reddick continued his incredible hot streak by winning at Kansas Speedway on Sunday. In a thrilling overtime finish, Reddick managed to roar past Kyle Larson on the final lap to secure his 5th victory in the first 9 races of the season. This is a feat that hasn't been accomplished since Dale Earnhardt did it back in 1987. Reddick's performance was a huge win for 23XI Racing, the team co-owned by NBA legend Michael Jordan and driver Denny Hamlin. Jordan was in attendance and was seen pumping his fist in celebration as the checkered flag flew. He praised Reddick's fire and the overall performance of the team, which saw all 4 of its cars finish in the top 15. Reddick joked after the race that if the boss man is going to show up, the team has to deliver the wins for him.
The race was relatively calm until a late caution involving Cody Ware set up the overtime restart. Denny Hamlin had been leading and seemed poised to win his 5th race at Kansas, but the caution changed everything. Although Hamlin beat Reddick off pit road, the field was bunched up, allowing Larson to take the lead initially. However, Reddick charged down the backstretch on the final lap, pulling alongside Larson in the final corners to edge him out. Hamlin was understandably frustrated, expressing his disappointment that a car multiple laps down caused the wreck that cost him the win. Larson, who was trying to end a long winless streak, noted that his car's balance felt off after taking only 2 tires on the final stop. Despite the frustration for some, it was a banner day for Reddick and Jordan, as they continue to dominate the early part of the Cup Series season.
That wraps up our daily sports roundup. Thanks for joining us for these updates across the leagues.
Be sure to follow us for your next daily briefing. We will be back tomorrow with more stories you follow most. Have a great day.